committee together for Monday, November 10th. We'll start with a prayer by Commissioner Foster and a pledge of allegiance by Commissioner Wandale. Please stand.
Let's pray. Dear Father, Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for the opportunity to get together and just do the work of the county, Lord. But most importantly, Lord, we thank you for your salvation. We just pray for the people out in the cold tonight, Lord, that they find a warm place to rest their heads tonight, Lord. We just thank you so much for all that you do and just your love and your mercy. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Salute, pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next, we have the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Barron, second by Commissioner Foster. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes as is. Next is appearance of citizens. If I have someone like to appear before this committee for anything that's on or off the agenda. Yes, sir. Come up, state your name and address, please.
Robert Walker. I live in Oak Ridge. I just wanted to speak as a citizen of Anderson County and say I support the Tennessee Waste to Jobs Act because it would provide jobs to the area and reduce costs to both the city and the county and help prevent waste of valuable resources. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, my name is Miriam Aldridge, and I'm representing the Norris Area Food Pantry. And I've been invited here by Josh Anderson. I just wanted to let the committee and the councilmen know that we're bleeding money this month. And we feed about 1%, a little over 1% of the total population of Anderson County every month. 17.5 tons of food every month go through that little pantry. And we've had to spend this month just trying to feed people an extra 58%. And I'm given to understand that there's money available for nonprofits. We are our own 501c3. I've applied for grants at all the other grocery stores. The only people that gave us money this whole year because of the way the economy is Walmart. We've gotten $2,000 from them. Last month, I spent $7,976 on food trying to prepare for this month. Last year at this time, I spent $4,594. And I'm asking for some relief from the county.
Okay.
Thank you.
If you're asking for the nonprofit, I think Commissioner Yeager, are you still chairman of that committee?
Yeah, I am. I'll speak to this. There's an application process that will go through the finance department, Robbie Holbrook. So I'm not sure. I'll give you his number because I don't know where it is online. Okay?
Okay, I did look to
Okay.
see if there was anything online, and there wasn't, so
All right.
I
I'll get
just
you his
didn't
number
find it.
then.
I'm sure it's there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Has anybody got any questions? Next is Oak Ridge Housing Authority Speaker Maria Catron.
Good evening. I just got a brief handout. Thank you.
I'd like to recognize Tom Behan, too, being in the audience.
Well, you stole my thunder because Mr. Behan is actually the president of Oak Ridge Housing Authorities Development Corporation. So I appreciate him being with me here tonight to come and speak to you. So I appreciate this opportunity. I wanted to share a little bit about the Housing Authority. We have been in existence for over 55 years. Most of the time we talk about the city of Oak Ridge proper, but we actually serve Anderson, Roane, and Morgan County. We have 128 public housing units within the city of Oak Ridge. We have 319 Section 8 vouchers that we operate in both the county and the city, with some special subsets. We have a partnership with the Department of Veterans Affairs, so we have 35 VASH vouchers for veterans that are chronically homeless. We have a partnership with the Department of Children's Services. We have 10 vouchers for foster youth that are aging out of the foster care system. We have a family self-sufficiency program, so we encourage our families to meet with and set up an individual plan to be able to move either off of federal subsidy or significantly reduce their dependence on federal subsidy. We have our voucher home ownership program. Most people are familiar with the rental aspect of the voucher program, but the voucher can also be used in support of a mortgage. So we operate that, and we have helped 5 families move towards home ownership. And then primarily what I'm here to talk to you about today is our nonprofit arm. So our Oak Ridge Community Development Corporation, we have done several projects that way and are moving forward. As I mentioned, 128 of those units are scattered across the city in 8 different sites. We're currently in the process of moving out of the public housing subsidy arena with HUD and moving into a Section 8 based platform. So we'll be doing some substantial renovations to those existing developments, as well as looking at some new opportunities for affordable housing. From a partnership perspective, we have done a couple of things that I wanted to highlight for you today. We've partnered with the city of Oak Ridge. So on their behalf, we administered a $500,000 home grant to identify homeowner homes within the city that could use rehabilitation. And there's just some examples of those. On average, we were between $30,000 and $35,000 a household was spent there. We've had a partnership with the Oak Ridge Land Bank along with the city, and received some property through the land bank. Shared that with ADVAC, that's another nonprofit that operates here in the county, and the city of Oak Ridge. Collectively, we built 4 houses. The Development Corporation built 3 homes there on Waddell Place. Those were sold at an affordable rate to both families that were within our family self-sufficiency program and families that were in the income range that was acceptable for purchase. We currently have a partnership with the Department of Energy and the Atomics Elk Lodge. We, on behalf of the Elks Lodge, we applied for a $1.9 million grant through DOE to do some new construction. And I'm happy to say we were awarded that grant. As you can see, this is the new community enrichment center that will be constructed on their property. It's approximately 5,000 square feet. We'll have community event space, a small business incubator, a health wellness space, because we have a partnership with the Area Free Medical Clinic, a computer lab, and a partnership with local unions to provide their classroom type training, as well as some heritage displays for the Scarborough community. We hope that project will break ground in first quarter of 26. And the one that I'm super excited to share with you is our 2 affordable housing tax credit projects. As I mentioned, those 128 units are going to receive some substantial rehabilitation due to an award we got through THDA for those units to not only rehab those, but also to develop 104 affordable rental units in the Scarborough community. It's part of an overall master planned unit development plan that we have, starting with the rental phase as phase 1, and the second phase will be 10 single-family homes for home ownership. This is when I say hot off the press, we have been working diligently to get this funding stack closed. We are moving forward with a closing in the next 2.5 weeks. And I can say to you all, I would like to officially welcome you to our groundbreaking for these two projects on December the 4th at 10 a.m. at the Scarborough Community Center. We're excited about the opportunity to be able to bring more affordable workforce housing to the city and the county of Oak Ridge. Why is that? Because there's a huge need. We have over 600 households on our waiting list for housing. As Tom can attest to, as a housing authority and as a development corporation, we were looking at, from a strategic perspective, how can we provide the most impact to the individuals and households that we serve. And we realized that we're going to have to look at affordable rentals to complement our work with single-family home ownership and existing home ownership rehab. So how can the Housing Authority and the Development Corporation possibly partner with the county? Well, there's ways that we've already started partnering. So I want to thank Mayor Frank for the partnership in this project. The county was gracious enough to be the lead applicant for a BRAG grant to be able to help environmental review dollars that were needed. So $100,000 came in support of that project as a pass-through to the Housing Authority. There's other ways that we can partner moving forward. If there's small area development planning that the county would like for us to be part of that conversation, we can. As a nonprofit, there are certain federal and state grants that you have to have that designation to be able to apply for. So like we were able to apply for on behalf of the city, we potentially could apply for grant funding on behalf of the county, as you all would direct us what you feel are the most targeted areas of need. There's several just overall arching programs that I've listed here. And then it's just a good partnership from the voucher program to actual redevelopment management. Those are just a high-level areas that we might be able to work together. We realize that there is a lot of industry that's coming to the Oak Ridge corridor, and those folks are going to need a place to live. And I would love to see them live in Anderson County before they go to Hardin Valley or West Knoxville. They would be here in our community as people that live, work, and play in Anderson County. So I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have, and I just welcome the opportunity for continued conversations with the Development Corporation.
Commissioner Barron?
Yeah, this new units that you're putting in Scarborough,
Yes.
how long was it from conception to now?
Yes, sure. That is a great question. So I'm trying to back up to when I started. So we started in 23 with the process, and we were set to close. So the funding, the capital funding that we use is an annual cycle. So we applied, and we started the planning in 23, we applied in 24, and were successfully awarded. Anticipated closing in the end of 24, it got pushed out into the first quarter of 25, and then funding was taken out of our capital stack, so we had to shift. When I say shift, we lost about $3.4 million in that project. So we took a deep breath. Most people thought our project was completely underwater, but we went back with our developers, rolled up our sleeves, worked cooperatively with the city and our other partners to say, how can we get this project out of the ground? Because at that time, we had probably 800 households on our waiting list. And we know that this is desperately needed in Anderson County. So we're you know, about 10 months later than what we wanted to be, but we have a project that we're getting ready to break ground on next month, and I'm proud of the work that we were able to do, because there were a lot of projects that were not able to recover.
Okay, how do we start a project like this? Is there like a blueprint to follow, or do we?
Well, I always say it's best to have a plan first. So I would encourage, you know, whether it's this group or another subset, that the mayor and the county commission thinks is appropriate, to start having a conversation about kind of what do you want to be when you grow up, and where do you see your areas of need. And that makes it to where we're not just shooting like all over the place, that we're actually strategic in our process. That's what the Development Corporation, we did. We were very strategic in our process, and that happened in 22 before we got to 23. So that's what I would recommend, is that we, you know, we can be part of those conversations, just analyzing where we're at, or if you bring in a consultant to do some master studying, being part of that conversation, and then being able to help carry the water with whatever strategic plan that the county feels is in their best interest to move forward.
Now then, on this particular project, was like $40 million or something like that?
It is. It's $46 million, yes.
How much money of that had to be put up by the city on this?
The city pledged part of their CDBG funds in support of this, and some in-kind infrastructure work has been put in place as part of this process.
So not a lot of money, really?
No.
Okay, well, that's good. You know, that sort of thing.
Well, I will say that the city also gave us the land,
Yeah.
which was huge, because that made it affordable. So the
Yeah.
city gave us 11.9 acres in order to do that development. So
Yeah.
that the dirt is not cheap. The
Yeah.
value of that dirt is huge, and that made the difference in being able to build something that was actually going to be affordable. Workforce housing rather than something market rate.
And ownership and management of this ongoing will
Yes,
be
so
done
the
by
housing,
you?
it can be structured lots of different ways. One thing that I will say to the commission as a whole is the same thing that I've said to the city manager and the city council in Oak Ridge. I feel very strongly, from a property management ongoing situation, local property management makes a difference in a development. You know, I live here, I work here, my daughter goes to Oak Ridge High School. You know, this is where we are going to see our neighbors. And all too often, especially with affordable rental property, once the development gets rehabbed or built, the property management gets released to a property management company that does not have employees that live in this community. And so it's very easy for them to not worry about that the trash compactor doesn't work, or that someone has a running toilet that's not working correctly, or that there is an issue with pest control. That's something I'm very proud of as the Housing Authority. We have a vested interest in our properties and how they're maintained, because one, it's the right thing to do, and two, because we care about this. This is our community, and we want those developments to maintain the same level of excellence they were when they were initially constructed or rehabbed.
All righty, thank you. Anybody got anything else?
No, thank you, Commissioner Barron.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Next is intergovernmental Tennessee Waste to Jobs presentation by Gary Cohen, requested by Commissioner Wandale.
Mr. Chairman, while Gary's coming up, I think we started this obviously a few months ago here, and then we sent it over to Solid Waste. I think Solid Waste met, and then they recommended it back to this body. Is that right? Okay, thank you. Go ahead. Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm back. Really, I'm back to ask for your support, ask for Anderson County's support, ask for Mayor Frank's support of our bill. I had the honor of meeting today with Mayor Frank just to give her some additional background as to what Tennessee Waste to Jobs is. It is a legislation. It is, I think on my first visit here, I explained that it is extended producer responsibility for packaging legislation. Extended producer responsibility policy is around the world. 1/3 of the countries around the world, or should in the world, have an EPR policy. Canada has it, Europe has it, and 7 states in the United States have recently passed it over the past 3 to 4 years. And we're looking for Tennessee to be the first Republican state to pass EPR for packaging. So again, I'll just very briefly to explain what EPR for packaging is. So this is not commercial packaging. This is not business to business. This is strictly what we as consumers buy in a supermarket or a Home Depot and we bring home to our homes. This is a residential packaging, such as yogurt cups or anything that you would find in a supermarket. Basically what EPR does is it says, and this actually is, Oikos is owned by Danone, who is one of our supporters of EPR, basically says the maker of the package, the yogurt, has had the responsibility of delivering the product to us fresh and safe. We take it, throw it in the garbage. This producer responsibility extends their responsibility to the end of life of their package. Okay. Now they are responsible for the recycling and the reuse of this package. This whole concept started in Europe 35 years ago because there's a limited amount of land for landfills. They tried to incinerate and whatnot. They said, we need to recycle this packaging because there's a better use for it. And that policy has grown in Europe. It has grown in Canada, is now here. And there are, the producers want this packaging back. We have the support of Mars, Petcare, and M&M's, and Unilever, and Nestle, Danone, hundreds of brands who want their packaging back. So I am here tonight to ask for your support of this. If you want to, just really briefly, I went ahead and I handed this out just to go over what happens when the legislation is passed. And you'll see on the front cover just a brief explanation. If you go down to number 2, Tennessee Waste to Jobs creates a nonprofit producer responsibility organization called a PRO, funded by the producers that cover the cost of collection and recycling of their packaging waste at no cost to the taxpayer. So everyone who ships into, every brand who ships into the state of Tennessee, over $10 million in annual revenue, so we're not affecting small business. Everybody over $10 million in sales who ships into the state of Tennessee, and generally it's the large companies, we're talking about large companies, large brands, they pay a fee on their packaging. So if their packaging is readily recyclable, they pay less of a fee. If their packaging, excuse me, is difficult to recycle, they pay a higher fee. And a great example of that is Amazon. As we know that Amazon, over the years, would send every one of us packages in their plastic envelope. That is referred to as difficult to recycle because it's plastic. So what we are finding is that Amazon, because of EPR, because of the incentivizing, Amazon has switched to paper. Why? Because it's easy to recycle. They pay less of a fee in the states and the countries wherewith they ship. So incentivizes producers to reduce their packaging, make it smaller, use more recyclable material. So it actually is a good business decision. It's almost like you have to go ahead and sometimes, encourage them to make their packaging smaller. We've been hearing that Frito-Lay is actually perhaps thinking about making their packaging on their chips a little bit smaller, because we all know that when we go in and you see a bag of chips, the bag is this big and the chips are down here, it's because they want to get the consumer's attention. Well, if it's going to cost them more to go ahead and have that bag, they're going to reduce it, reduces the amount of packaging. That is the effect of what EPR does. Now, what we have found is that obviously it funds the recycling systems. What we have found here in Tennessee is we have a very unique situation compared to some of the other states that have passed this. Tennessee is ranked 48th in the nation in recycling, which means that for the past decades, couple of decades, the waste companies here in the state of Tennessee have chosen to go ahead and pick it up and bury it somewhere. We have a terrible landfill crisis here. Middle Point is about to close, which is services Middle Tennessee. We have about 3 to 4 years worth of life left to it. A third of Tennessee ships their garbage to Middle Point. When Middle Point closes, and it will close, and it's not going to expand if Mayor Carr and Mayor McFarland in Murfreesboro have anything to say, they actually have gone to court and they've won that Republic Services cannot expand that. Garbage is going to continue to be shipped out of state at a higher cost. Therefore, we have to go ahead and find out what, other ways of dealing with our waste. We have found out that in the state of Tennessee, privately owned, and the places that handle recyclables are called MRFs, Material Recovery Facilities. There is one MRF privately owned, and that is in Nashville by Waste Management, and it is one of the worst MRFs in their system. Well, what we've discovered by talking to solid waste directors around the state is that Tennessee has 9 county-owned MRFs, which means our bill would invest in existing infrastructure, which means that it would invest in the county-owned. So I was up today talking to Mayor Lynch because Campbell County has a MRF. Not big, but it has a footprint. It has some sortation equipment. It has a baler. It has the ability to go ahead and collect. I will hand out this. And this is fairly new developments since I last spoke with you. This is the exciting part to me, because we're not necessarily going to be investing in, I think you saw here. We wouldn't necessarily be investing in waste companies' facilities. The Pro would invest in these facilities that you see around here, and we would do a hub and spoke. Mac Nolan, who is the chairman of the Solid Waste Directors Association, and I have met, and he is very much in favor of this, as are many of the other. I've been running around the state. Again, I'm a volunteer. I'm a taxpayer. I'm not a lobbyist. I'm doing this strictly as a passion. I just retired from the packaging industry 3-4 months ago. I have my wife with me tonight. Where do we go? We go to commissioners meetings and meet with county mayor. It's just something that, it's a passion of mine. We want to see Tennessee improve their environmental responsibility. So we see this very much as a business opportunity where these counties, Campbell County, I also mentioned to Mayor Frank today that if there was any thought about starting a Anderson County MRF, that should this bill pass in the next session or the session after, it takes us 3 years to implement it. But should Anderson County make the investment, that starting from the time that the Pro starts to fund, Anderson County, as it amortizes its cost for its MRF, would be paid by the Pro. In other words, the cost that you would be incurring would be because you are the infrastructure, and it would invest into the equipment, the sorters, the AI sorters. In order to sort materials, they're about $1.5 million a piece. So we're figuring you may need 3 or 4 or 5 optical sorters in there.
That doesn't come cheap. The taxpayers aren't going to pay it, but the pro would invest. We're talking bringing $200 to $300 to $400 million a year into the state of Tennessee. The neat thing about this too, and I know that your budgets are tight, okay, and what's the benefit to you? If you look on the back page, I went ahead and we estimated the cost savings of what a county would save based upon not having to throw away packaging, which accounts for about 40 to 50% of what you throw away. I mean, the mayor of Mayor Lynch, I asked him how many trailer loads do you send down to Scott County every day? He says, I send 53-foot trailer loads every day. He got it. He said, you're telling me that we basically could go ahead and send 1 or 1.5? I said, yeah. I said, think about the amount of money that you're going to save by not sending down a trailer or a trailer and a half of trash every day, and you'll be recycling it. Well, the question came up today, okay, well, what happens if the market for the materials go down? Which we know that markets will go up and down. The thing is that the pro has to pay the county at what cost you incur. So if it costs you $300 a ton to collect and process the recyclables, the pro has to reimburse you. Even though you may only be able to sell it for $150, it still has to pay you the $300. What's really cool is that if the value of the materials like aluminum and glass are higher, you will make the money. The counties make the money. The state makes the money. It offsets what the pro will pay in, but still it's not going to be managed by private equity, by private haulers. It's a little complicated, I know, and I'm throwing a lot at you, but I'm here to, we're excited about this because I think we're the only state in the nation where there's such minimal private investment from the private waste haulers, and we have the capability of 9 to 10 different facilities around this state that we could go ahead and create a recycling infrastructure funded by the pro to the benefit of Tennessee residents and Tennessee communities. We just need we need to be able to pass this. Now, the headwinds, and I someone told me when I first got into it, keep in mind, 3 years ago, the only folks that I spoke to were business people. I had never spoken to legislators or a gentleman told me, he says, one thing I want you to tell me is, tell me who my opposition's going to be. Don't let me find out from someone else. So I've kept to that policy. And your opposition is the haulers. Why? Because the haulers this is going against their business plan of what's happened. So who do they enlist? Tennessee Chamber of Commerce, lobbyists who go up and talk to the legislators up in Nashville, and that's my headwinds. Since we've gone ahead and understood that, hey, this will really benefit the counties, the county solid waste directors, and be able to build it, you folks are the ones that need to speak to the legislators and say, hey, this would be good for our counties. May not be good for the solid waste folks, but we could also continue to employ them to collect our trash, and we'll be reimbursing them. It's just that they have not made the investment here in Tennessee. Counties have. So that's kind of our headwind.
Okay. I know this came with full recommendation from the Solid Waste Board. Commissioner McCamey, have you got any input?
No, we just send it back here for final disposition.
Okay. I think this would probably be, I've got a background in this, but I think it'd be great if somebody make a motion that we could draft a letter to our legislators in support of this, possibly.
I make a motion that we draft a letter to send our legislators in support of the Tennessee Waste to Jobs Act.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Capshaw, seconded by Commissioner Barron. Discussion on the motion.
Chair,
Commissioner Wandell.
I'd like to hear Mayor, you met with the mayor today, and I'd like to hear Mayor if she has anything she'd like to add.
Not really. I mean, I don't know if the draft will be reviewed. So, I mean, if we're going to do it as a letter or resolution, I did express, I guess, some concerns to Gary, but I think it's the issue, it's one of the issues of our time, it's one of the issues of the state of Tennessee. This is something that can work. Of course, as Gary said himself, it's very complicated, so I mean, just for me personally, you're asking my opinion, it'll just depend on how that letter is worded. So like this specific legislation changes, legislation gets amendments. So, I mean, this is just me personally saying my own opinion. I'll be cautious about that, like what entirely is being endorsed, but the concept, absolutely, I mean, it makes sense. It reduces, what's going into the landfill. Right now, everything that goes in is on the backs of the taxpayer. So, this is a way to reduce that and do, further work to reduce that, so.
Commissioner, I have, I'm sorry,
Let's get Commissioner Yeager first.
The states that use this program, we'll just use Amazon since you have one of their packages. Do they send different packages to those states as opposed to send them here?
No, generally, when you're a large company like that, you're going to make a change. If you're sending it into California, which is the 4th largest economy in the world, you're going to make those changes across the board. And we are the beneficiaries of it, obviously, but they're making those changes across because of the states that are passing.
And how much has it cost Amazon to implement this? To those 5 states, you said?
It's 7 states.
7 states.
And 2 of them, one has just started the program this past June, and Colorado is going to kick in January, but keep in mind they ship to Canada. I believe that Amazon, and I don't know this for a fact, but I believe being in the packaging industry, I think Amazon is coming out ahead.
Okay.
I think they're saving money.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner, Chairman, we have letters. I've recently got support from Mayor Kelly in Chattanooga. We have support from the mayor of Memphis, the mayor of Knoxville, Clarksville. I can send you their letters so that you can see a template of how they word it and find something that fits your wording. I can send that over to you.
Okay. Do you have any information from the state of North Carolina? Because that's when, mostly if I do some work for a MRF, most of them are in North Carolina. And I know that the state there gave them some incentive money to reduce their carbon footprint and to do recycling. Do you know anything about that?
I do not, sir.
Okay. All right, but you'll get the letter, and I guess to the mayor to look at, because it's from the mayors to the mayor?
I mean, I would assume it would be from
And then,
commission. I'm just saying if
Right.
you want my signature on it, that would be, otherwise I would do something separate that.
well, I
would
guess
just
it's
kind
for all
give
of
the-
commission and the mayor to look at,
Yeah.
so. Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciate the time and your willingness to help us, so thank you. You have a beautiful county. My wife and I have been spending the day, and it's just been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Rosedale Clean Water Update, request by Commissioner Wandale.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if there's a whole lot of information, update. The last I had heard is they're awaiting engineering, when I say they, the Anderson County Water Authority is awaiting engineering study for the Rosedale area. Some of the things we talked about before was the AML grants, the AML grant itself, and then the IIJA AML grant. Based on these discussions, the good news is that the Anderson County Water Authority and TDEC AML have come together to, they did apply for the IIJA grant, AML grant, but not for Rosedale. They're gonna use it for Seaver Flats. That's some of the water that went in the first time, and apparently there's some issues with that water line, is what I understand. So they're gonna utilize these funds from the IIJA AML grant to try to start addressing that. So for the meantime, we're just awaiting an engineering study from CCI, I believe it is, for the Anderson County Water Authority, to see how much it would cost to run the water all the way up to the Rosedale. That's all I know at this time. I did ask TDEC and Anderson County Water Authority if there's anything that could be done in the short term to get clean potable water up there to those 3 or 4 residents up that way, and hadn't heard anything back yet.
All right. Thank you very much, and appreciate your diligence in trying to help out those people over there as well. And Commissioner Capshaw's been over there in viewed area, and she knows what's going on as well. The last meeting, they talked about is that we're going to pursue the grants to do that, and I think the Seaward Flats thing came up in between. That's an issue that they're having to deal with, but we're going forward with that, and ACWA is as well. And while we're on that issue, I got a call from the residents over at Straight Fork, where that road is, and, Lieutenant Governor McNally said that he would get them on the ball, but now they've got a flashing light issue where the lights are flashing instead of going on and off. So, when it's a foggy situation, unless it's night, you don't know who's coming. So,
Yes.
if you hear anything about that, let us know.
Yeah, I sent an email. I think the mayor had an email from, I can't remember the fellow's name. She got an email from Lieutenant Governor and TDOT too. I forget his name, but I did email the fellow. Klein, was it Jay Klein or something like that? John Klein? I can't remember.
Jay
but
Klein,
yeah. So I emailed them today. I don't know if my email went through or not, but I got some of them kicked back. So but maybe the mayor, she's got probably a direct email if you want to reach out to them.
Okay.
Because you're the one that sent it to us. We had that Tennessee County Commissioner Association regional meeting, and Lieutenant Governor was there, and then he followed up with TDOT, and then you got an email and you forwarded it to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the lights out up there is what I understand what you said?
Yeah, they went to the flashing, and sometimes they'll work, sometimes they don't, but when they're flashing, you've been there.
Oh, yeah.
So you know how dangerous it is. Yeah, and especially when you got a school bus coming through there.
Yeah.
So, all right. Next is the Creosote Poor Farm Blockhouse Valley Landfill Site Discussion request by Commissioner Wandell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just really bringing this up for discussion. I know there's something in our packet here for a resolution that was passed some time ago, but really I just wanted to bounce off the mayor and the commissioners here to see what the plans are. Creosote is a project that's been ongoing with Dr. Bird, doing all that research for the last, 15 years or so, I think, for king snakes and box turtles, and a lot of research has been done. I guess I'm just trying to get a handle on what should we do as a county when it comes to that 290 acres, and what can we do to kind of look at the future for that area, and keeping the research going if we can, and then any other ideas. And Mayor, I didn't know if you had any suggestions or thoughts on that.
I did bring up maybe a year ago or a year and a half ago with the county. So we're still, I think originally the timeline envisioned maybe having a little more leeway or liberty with the site. I think that original resolution maybe in 2009 envisioned like 2016, but we have reduced monitoring that allows for the educational research to be on site there, but we still aren't entirely free to kind of do whatever we want. And there are certain areas that we'll never be able to, have activities on. We might be able to have something passive or a parking lot or something like that. But I did bring up maybe what I was saying a year and a half ago about possibly applying for a planning grant that could look at a lot of these things. I mean, it takes somebody dedicated to look at the issues, everything from having stakeholder community input to assessing the full site, assessing the monitoring requirements. And my original intent when I came through operations, I asked for this body and then on up to full commission authorization for the Natural Resource Damage Assessment Grant for a planning grant for Blockhouse Valley as well as Lost Bottom Park. Well, when the full scope of the grants came out, the planning grant portion didn't really fit for NRDA grant because they want to actually see you do some work, do things to impact groundwater or recreation or those kinds of things. But I still think maybe a planning grant might be the avenue. If we can't come up with one, then maybe, we look at funding a planning grant or a planning study that would look at all of those things. And you would get input on the research, you could get input on what the community would like to see. That would probably be the best way. I think 2009 that resolution envisioned it going over to the Conservation Board for management. But if the county wanted to have input, I think it would be wise to do something in the planning realm, if you want to be more involved in that ahead of time. So I don't know if that sounds like a good idea or not.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we have John look into a planning grant. I know there's some out there, and that's kind of what his scope is. See what we can. I know those planning grants can be really good to help kind of be some guidance and have some money, because they do. Sometimes you got to get an engineer involved and those kind of things. So I think that would be our first step, kind of see if there's money out there and when that grant cycle is.
Seconded by Commissioner, motion made by Commissioner Foster, seconded by Commissioner Yeager. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor say yes. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Yes.
I did, didn't I? Sylvia's paying attention, yeah. Okay. Next is public forum requested for the American Nuclear Site cleanup use of properties in September operations meeting. And this whole American Nuclear cleanup started in the intergovernmental, so it's real important. I mean, we wouldn't have been successful without it. So Commissioner Wandell, have you got any input on this?
I ran into a fellow at E-Tech, with T-Dec, I forget his name. It's gonna be a while before T-Dec turns it back over to the county, but I feel like the mayor will have more in it on this than I would. But I feel like T-Dec wants to give it back to the county at some point. I can't, they just want to see it. I don't think they're in favor of us, putting something on there that's, I think they would be in favor of a park or something, something like that is what I understand. But mayor probably has a lot more to offer than I do.
I think, TDEC does have two arms. They've got the environmental arm, and then they have the parks arm that is both under the one giant umbrella. And they, just in conversation, there's nothing that's an official letter or anything like that, but in conversation with the folks that work there, they would love to see us have this fantastic story to tell where, with partnership, federal with EPA, state partnership with locals, we remediated, we cleaned up that site. Then we're gonna turn it over and make something that the community can use in the park space, which would still be continued partnership with TDEC. And we could certainly go ahead if we're gonna pursue this planning grant for Blockhouse Valley. It's right there. It's really the entryway to that land. We could include that land on any kind of, planning study that we look at. I did check a month or maybe 6 weeks ago with Carter Owen, who worked on site, was the lead there at American Nuclear's cleanup for EPA. And the timeline is they're going to be having two reports. One of the reports will probably come out around the January 2026 timeframe, thereabout. He said he couldn't be specific, but it'll be in that early 2026 phase. When that first report comes out, then they will hand that over to TDEC. And then TDEC will look at what that report says, and they'll start developing a list of deed restrictions and any kind of restrictions that might be associated with the property. And that would be part of that lead up to us asking for the property and them ensuring that, you know, they can turn it over. I feel comfortable from what everybody said is that we're gonna be able to use it and it's gonna be fine, but I guess they have to have the actual final report from EPA. And then there'll be a second report that comes out later in the year that will be the complete closure. And then that's when we can have, I know, I think what Commissioner Allen's motion was about was what the public would want to see or the use of the property. I also know there's been some community requests. I know Commissioner Wandell and I have both received a request from one of the residents about a public hearing on the final report, but we won't be able to do that until they finally close that out with that second report.
Okay.
And what that has is they've gone and they've done, after their entire cleanup, they do a whole lot more testing, and that's part of that final stuff. So we could include it with your
Yeah,
planning.
if everybody's okay with that, I'll go ahead and include that into my previous motion that we voted on. I know you were the second on that. Can we do that? Or do we, parliamentarian? Two of you beside each other, or we need to reconsider it? I'll make a motion to add that to our original motion.
Yeah.
Same application.
Yeah, I think that's good to do a separate motion, because when you go back and look at it, you can say, you know, there was a motion to include, even though we don't possess it yet, but to include the American nuclear site in any planning for Blockhouse Valley, what is it called, recreation or research and recreation or something, whatever that resolution was called.
Okay, that motion was made by Commissioner Foster, seconded by Commissioner McCamey. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous. The next was telehealth for animals. I know we've talked about this several times before, and all the feedback that I've got's been positive, that people would like to see that in public. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is they go back in session in January, and each one of our state representatives has a limited number of bills that they can carry. So I think that it's a good idea, and if we could get a motion to probably draft a letter to our state legislators, see if they would support this, so we can, you know, we don't want to wait till January or February because we'll be too late. Discussion.
Yeah, motion, do we need, there's a letter of support to support this legislation?
Correct.
Okay, that the law director's gonna draft?
Yes.
Make that motion.
Okay.
A second.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Foster, seconded by Commissioner Capshaw. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Next is Legislative Fireworks Private Act, deferred from the October operations meeting. I think everybody's got that in their packet. Discussion.
Does he need to speak? Do you have somebody to speak?
Well, if you have any
Oh.
questions, he's here answering the questions you may have.
No, I spoke to Josh, the Medford Volunteer Fire Department chief. He's okay with it. Spoke with the mayor, Kerry Templin, and right now it's legal to sell fireworks inside of Rocky Top. Of course, about there's some legislation in here that needs to be cleared up. And when it was first brought up several years ago, when Commissioner Meade put it together, it had passed this body, went to the state and come back and failed. Well, there were some things I think back then that we should have changed to get this back through, and I think from what I've read, everything falls in line with how it would have passed the second go around.
Is the fire have they spoken to this topic?
Good question. Last meeting, which was last week, we didn't have a quorum. Had 6 chiefs there, including myself. I had just discussion, no motions were made.
Right.
I had several chiefs speak against it. You know, as you know, I leave everything up to them. It's not my world. I'm just there facilitating the meeting. I had several express concern that they're a volunteer fire department, and for them to endorse it, should a fire break out from fireworks, you know, they see it as being problematic, that maybe they're endorsing it and then they have to go put the fire out, and, you know, they just see it as an issue. Not all of them, I didn't hear from your chief, but I don't know if there's an urgency to get this done tonight, but I would like to give the opportunity to the fire departments, fire commission. I know the mayor's in process of getting a fire marshal put in, and I'd like to make you know, but it's up to this body. If you guys want to move forward, I'll have to vote no, because, you know, I represent the fire chiefs, and I would vote no at this time if I had to vote on it tonight.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
No, go ahead, Commissioner, you're
Commissioner
first.
Barron?
My only question is, you know, do we have any idea how much money that would bring into the county? I mean, you know, is it enough to make it, well, there are obvious hazards to having fireworks in the county, that sort of thing. And particularly whenever you got farms and animals and stuff like that, they're very affected by
Forest fires.
fireworks. You know, I used to have horses, you know, come 4th of July, you know, it was crazy. But I would just question whether it would be worth it to the county to do this, you know, because of all the different problems. And of course, you got kids that get injured with them occasionally too, you know. I know as a kid, I loved them and everything. I nearly blew my hand off more than once.
Sorry, I'm gonna make a motion to approve one, just so we can have some discussion on it too. But also I think, so I'm gonna make my motion to approve.
Second, so you can go,
Okay.
go ahead.
Yeah, but I think it's one of those things, fireworks are being shot in this county and they're not being bought in this county. And, you know, I know there used to be the store up in Rocky Top, it was the only one, so fireworks are always gonna be shot here. People love fireworks. And so I think if we can capture some money out of this and help, you know, if there's local business owners, I wanna support it. I think I just don't think we're ever gonna stop people from shooting fireworks. Because even in the cities, and I know nobody enforces the law, but there's a law in every city, county that says you can't shoot them, and people shooting them all night long, so.
You don't remember how much revenue was brought in off sales tax from that one? They were there for about 5 years.
Oh, they were there longer than that.
Yeah, I guess maybe 10.
They were,
Yeah, he says that he can speak to that and also to
Come on
a
up.
couple of questions that you have.
I just ran a couple of quick figures. This is out of other counties, doesn't necessarily apply, you know, exactly to this county, but your county tax should be 2.75%. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, name and address, I'm sorry.
My name and address? Yes. Okay, sorry. Tony Bowling, Seymour, Tennessee.
Okay.
That's where our company's located.
And can you tell us the name of your company too?
Parker Fireworks.
Okay, go ahead.
So if you just go off your county tax of 2.75, according to the National Fireworks Association, each one of these tents is going to gross 20 to 50,000. I can tell you they do at least 50, usually more. You're looking at nearly $1,400 just in sales tax. You're able to set any kind of fee you want as far as licensing, a transient license, a special business license, your county and or city permits. You can pretty much set those whatever you want to set them at. A lot of counties will do $100 county permits. Some of them have $1,000 permits. So that's kind of just up to you guys. you're looking at a potential of anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 a tent, times 15 tents. If you had that many in the county, which you very well could have, you have enough space, you have enough entrance from fireworks companies to come in and do that. That's $25,000 to $30,000 a year, potentially. That's just some of my quick figures. If I can speak to the thing with the farms and problems that it may cause, we've been selling fireworks in Sevier County for 40 years. Sevier County's land mass, farm mass, and population are very close to Anderson County if you take out the unused portion of the Smoky Mountains. So this is 40 years in Sevier County, which is a very similar county in structure and per capita as far as people to farmland. And it's still going on. If it was an issue with the farmland, if there was problems with the animals and farms, and especially with Sevier County being such a tourist area, I mean, they don't have complaints there. If they did, it wouldn't be allowed. And I've got gentlemen, we started 3 years ago. We went before commission and were granted the right to sell fireworks in Louisville, Tennessee. First time that had ever been allowed. So we've been there 3 years now, and they've had 0 complaints, according to the codes officer, Mary Ottinger, which was the previous commission chair. They haven't had any complaints other than one of our parking lot lights shining too brightly in the neighborhood, which obviously we adjusted. He could not be here. He did say it was okay to give you his phone number and his email address. If you wanted to communicate with him, he'd be glad to tell you that they've saw no increase from the fire department or injuries or anything like that. And it's, you know, pretty small community right there.
What's that name and number? Do you have it?
Yes, sir, I do. That's Barry Ottinger, Ottinger, Building and Codes Official, 865-681-1983.
Okay.
And we have, I mean, we work very close with fire departments and fire chiefs, and these, I mean, we're in 4 or 5 different counties in several different cities, and we got these fire department guys. They'll come and they'll inspect our tents, they'll approve us and everything, and then they bring their kids back and they buy fireworks. People are going to shoot fireworks. When I grew up, they were illegal in Knox County. They're still illegal in Knox County. Everybody shoots fireworks. We always shot fireworks. They're going to shoot the fireworks here. I mean, you don't have the enforcement to keep them from shooting fireworks here. Their potential is here to bring the county money. That was the selling factor, and that's why Louisville decided to do it, because it brought money in, which they are spending on their school systems. So that's pretty much all I've got on that, I think.
Okay.
Have you talked to our fire chiefs and our fire commission?
I have
you
not,
talked
no.
or not? Okay.
No, I'll be more than happy to do that, but no, I have not.
Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To your question, I have spoken to the Fire Commission back in August. They've not been able to get together to, to deliberate on it. But I did want to just offer a couple of reminders. This resolution is for only 2 times in the year, the 4th of July and the 1st of the year. So it's not like fireworks all year long. It's just those 2 times. There's also been a suggestion to add the curfew. This was what was offered last month from the sheriff's office. Also, this is time sensitive as well, as you mentioned. We need to kind of have something, whichever way we go, we need to clean it up. We need to get it to this legislative session that will be convening in January. And then, I I think we've heard from different people, but, you know, whatever the body wants to do is fine. It's just we need to clean up that 1947 private act. So if it's not selling fireworks, then we still need to clean up the resolution that's on the books. So just wanted to point those couple of things out. And he did mention that Knox County, it's illegal to sell fireworks in Knox County. The reason why is because of their population. The state of Tennessee says if you exceed a certain threshold of population, then it's illegal, period. And Knoxville exceeds that population, so that's why it's illegal there. But every county around Anderson County sells fireworks.
When this came up originally, and the law director Yeager first presented this to the body as a way to help fund volunteer fire departments and for them to be able to sell. But, you know, they're already stressed enough with everything they've got to do. So that's one of the reasons why it was turned back down from the body. Also, in this resolution, some of the profits go to where?
So the resolution states, we can verify this with the law director, but it goes toward fire prevention, education, and I think the statement, it's in your packet there, but prevention and education is what the money will be earmarked for. It goes through the fire marshal. However, that's going to be set up. The fire marshal will have the responsibility of, you know, policing it, if you will, and then that money will go toward fire. It stays in that fire category, prevention and education.
Okay. Any other discussion? Commissioner McCamey.
The private act that we are operating under now, if we rescind that, just do away with it, where does that leave us? So we just be under state law then, which is?
He is available now by phone. He's stuck in the snow behind an accident on the interstate, but he is available by phone. I could ask him that question, and it might take a few minutes, but we can get an answer.
Well, we would need to rescind the 47 Act, or what's the new private act, or the one that before us?
Replace it. And
Is it just replacing that one?
Yes, and it has the updated language.
But if we just rescind that, ask our legislators to rescind it, then that leaves us under state law.
It's my understanding.
And then we need to know what the state law allows. Do they allow the sale?
It's been a very long time since I've looked at it, Commissioner McCamey. The last time we went around, I mean, the state law has very strict requirements about sales and inspections, and you know, they have their folks, but I think that would allow, I think the reason that Jay had approached it from replacing with the private act is so that we could still put further limitations on it, such as
I know the last time we said it had to be in a concrete block building, you know, it couldn't be in a tent and all that.
Right.
But, you know, and that just sort of, you know, for 2 days, nobody's going to build a building
right.
for 2
Right.
days out of the year or 3. So it, but I'm just interested now in knowing what the actual state law allows and does not allow. Because that may be our best bet, just
You know,
rescind the 47 private act and
yeah,
go under state law.
you could pass it without recommendation, so that way to have more discussion when the law director is here. That, you know, my position's always been to support, you know, the fire departments. And then tonight, to send it with a recommendation, I'd vote no, because I've always supported the fire departments. I've only been able to talk to one fire chief, and I sit on that board as well, but, you know, they're the ones that's got to fight the forest fires. So I still want, you know, input from them. But if we pass it on without recommendation, we can take it up Monday night when the law director's here and get some more answers.
I agree with you, but I guess my concern is we don't even have a fire marshal in place yet. And I know we're working towards that, mayor's working on that, and I just don't know what the urgency is. I mean, the gentleman's correct. People are gonna buy fireworks and they're gonna shoot them off. No one's been arrested, to my knowledge, in this county since the law was put on the books. And I suspect they're still not ever gonna get arrested, whether we pass this or not. You know, I've heard this argument for years from previous Commissioner Meade, you know, how important it is to clean that up. And I guess it is important, but nothing's ever happened with not cleaning it up. And I know that doesn't make it right per se, but there's a lot of language in here that I have concerns with. And for us to vote on it tonight with a recommendation, send it Monday to talk about, there's too much in here for me. I mean, I'm still not, I drive around this state, and when I see empty firework places, it looks like a blight on the county from my perspective. And, you know, some might think it's good to have tents pop up all over the county during these times of June 20th through July 5th, and then, you know, December 10th through January 2nd, which again, I'm opposed to having this kind of activity around Christmas time, especially. I know people don't shoot off fireworks, but if we're going to be selling them, I don't know what'll happen. And yes, they can go to another county and get them, but and then you got to deal with all the fireworks that are shot off, especially at our parks. I know over at Bull Run Park, there's a lot of trash that has to be picked up on July 4th, but that's just all par for the course, and we're not even selling them in Anderson County. So I'm going to be a no on this for now until I don't see the urgency on why we got to do this tonight. I don't know why we have to do it tonight. I'd like for this gentleman to come to the fire commission and give him a chance to talk to them, and maybe the fire chiefs will say, yeah, it's a great idea based on his answers to them. And if that's the case, then we can say, hey, let's vote it up. Let's anyway, thank you.
Commissioner Capshaw.
I'm just gonna say that I'm gonna be a no, because I want to hear what I want to hear from all the fire chiefs on what their final decision is gonna be.
Okay.
I value their opinion, and I want to hear what they have to say first
Absolutely.
before making a decision.
Commissioner Barron?
I would defer it and let the fire people
All
look
right.
at it.
You got a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Second.
Defer it.
Okay, we got a motion second to defer it till next month.
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes to defer. Thank you. Okay, let me go back to where we're at. Okay. Jeff Cole's not gonna be here, AI system for the minutes. I talked to him Saturday morning about it. Can't wait to hear his proposal on it. I think it's gonna be something we definitely need.
And he spoke at the Easy Plan
Yeah.
workshop, and he's gonna come to full commission to talk about it, so, but.
You wanna give some insight on it?
Yeah, so just what he was talking about, they gave him he's got a website that he's got the beta website where they can do it, and he was really happy with what he's seen so far, and like there's a lot of search words, but he's gonna do the operating the system they bought will come and present to full commission, and that's why he came on Friday to talk to us, but in this way he can just do a presentation, kind of show us. But he was very impressed with the system and keeping up with minutes and tracking. And
Yeah, that's what he
there's
was
even
doing.
more technology to write the minutes and, you know, put it in there, and so it's all word for word and that kind of thing. So there's a little endless possibilities with it, the way it sounds. He can add.
Yeah, and if, you know, it may not be 100% accurate, but if they want a certified copy of the minutes, they go through, what department do they go through? Jeff again, or would they?
Yes, the clerk for any certified always
Yeah.
has to have his signature on it
So
and
if they want
stamp.
an official copy of the minutes, they can have access to that too.
Great. Okay. All right, we'll move on, and before we do that, in case somebody wants to sell fireworks, they can, the city of Rocky Top, they can appreciate the revenue. So,
Let me ask a question on that then.
yeah,
Do they do it out of a building or out of tents?
they'll do it either or.
I don't think they can unless
they
they've
can't,
changed
just the
it.
building.
So it's based on building codes, and there's not, with the way the building code's up, only that building that, unless they've changed it since I was left, that building that had fireworks was certified, but any new, it has to meet the standards.
Okay.
And a
Because they
tent-
had fire protections,
Yeah,
sprinklers
and
and
the
all that. I
tents
remember
wouldn't
that.
meet
Gotcha. Okay.
code, but that's how they, but yes, it's allowed to be sold, it just has to meet those requirements. So,
And one quick thing on that is because, you know, we just had that explosion, you know, that fireworks factory, so that's something to take into consideration as well, but enough of that. Mayor's report.
The first, I'm just putting in front of you, the county passed a flood prevention resolution, I think it was in 2009. And basically, by having this in place, it makes people, maintains our eligibility for participation in the National Flood Insurance Program. And so we do need to update that and amend it to current standards. And I have put that in front of you. I've still got to get with the law director on this. There's still a couple of areas where we've got to fill in the blanks, but I just wanted to put it in front of you since it's one of those lengthy documents. Margie went through everything and we kind of tabbed the changes. There's not a lot that's changing. One of the things, there are some areas that are still not mapped in Anderson County for these purposes. And apparently that's a very long and quite expensive process. So I don't think it's unusual for your entire county not to be mapped according to NFIP. But anyhow, I just wanted to put it in front of you so that you've got plenty of time, and then I'll bring that back with a final and with the law director's review.
And that's resolution number 25-11-1242.
Yes, sir, yes. Okay. You know, some of the things, for instance, like when we do, you have a permit that you pull specifically for that. When we do the final, which we're already doing this, we'll do a final inspection and we're verifying those standards, but you have to keep these records forever. And it can be done, you know, via paper or electronically, but forever you have to maintain these records. And there's a few things like that that are being updated. The next, I'm asking for authorization to put, we have the newly renovated dental space, and I'm asking for authorization to put a couple of small plaques, one for Dr. Joe Rainey, who was so instrumental in the dental clinic and advocating for the dental clinic and service to those in need. And he was a dentist, and a lot of times dentists don't want to see other people serving people for free, but Dr. Rainey believed that there were people that needed help, and so I wasn't planning on any wording, but maybe just something, you know, honoring Dr. Rainey. And then also for Art Miller, who, just a separate small plaque for Art Miller, just to put somewhere on the wall in there. But I did not want to do that just on my own. I wanted to ask Commission for the authorization to do that.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
second.
Yep.
Motion by Commissioner McCamey, seconded by Commissioner Foster. I just want to say that back 2010, 2011, 2012, when this first got going, B. Ray Thompson was very instrumental in trying to help get this going, as you remember. Especially, you know, he came from New River.
Yeah,
But,
yep.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Oh, and then the AI business case. So this is something you know, it doesn't necessarily need a motion, but I just wanted to kind of put it in front of you for thought. I did raise this also at the strategic workshop. So we're looking currently at some technology. I'm going to back up a little bit. Years ago, we were looking at the technology. If you know you're on, say, a large company website, you know, it'll have the little chat box there that you can ask some basic questions, or you can even interact with customer service representative. Well, just a couple of years ago, this was just too expensive for us to look at. So I looked at it for a couple of departments, you know, where you get a lot of questions. And, but now with AI, the prices have just dropped tremendously. I mean, we're talking $10,000 and $12,000 and $14,000 instead of massive investment. And what the AI does is it will look at our records to answer a lot of questions. So for instance, if you go on our website, what we're wanting to accomplish is, instead of having to click around and say, you know, who is my commissioner, or when does this body meet, or how do I find out the budget, or how do I get an open records request, this AI assist looks at, I mean, and it's instant, it's incredible. It looks at our website and gives you that information. So instead of a citizen having to click around. But what it can also do is answer other questions that have come before this body and been voted on. But one of the things that I noticed, so I just one evening was kind of playing around with it, test driving, and one of the companies we're looking at will actually let us do a pilot program for 3 months, and the commission could play around with it. We don't have to make the investment. But when I was typing in a lot of just random questions about, you know, things that have come before us, one of the things I noticed was some of the answers were either incorrect or only partially correct. But they do source it, and so it would say, you know, you may need to contact this department or reach out and find out more, but it was based on documents that would come before this body or motions. And so I'm only raising this as a topic, and I put in City of Oak Ridge's agenda items, and then I put in the TPO. TPO is a little more difficult if you're looking at their agenda, because you click it and then it'll take you to the full documents. But what I'm just proposing is maybe on the agendas, or you know, as we're helping develop our motions, that if we spell them out, you know, more clearly, even in advance, like for instance, you know, on the NFIP one, I didn't ask for approval, but if I had, then I would put a motion to amend, to update our flood control document, amending the 2009 for purpose of Anderson County maintain flood protection. And then what that yields in terms of an answer, if somebody goes up and says, is Anderson County, or, you know, I'm an Anderson County citizen, are we eligible for NFIP? And then it would say yes, and it would say, commission, you know, here's when they did it on operations, and then they voted, and it will actually give answers like that. So I just was raising that as a topic of discussion, just as something to consider. And I don't remember, I just don't remember at the strategic workshop if we said, I don't think we put it on there as a priority or anything, but it was just a discussion point. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, and I've been in some workshops and saying the stuff with AI on, like, even city, county websites. I mean, you can even have a hologram that, like, you are talking to a person, like a video of a person comes up and you are having a conversation with them and like, hey, where is,
Oh, wow.
you know, Lost Bottom Park? And Lost Bottom Park, oh, this is, and it tells you about Lost Bottom Park, right? So, I mean, the technology that's out there and continuing to develop because, but yeah, you go to a website and it's no longer even a chat. I mean, it's a, hey, you know, I'm Michael and I'm with the, you know, Anderson County government. How can I help you today? And it just has a conversation with it. It's pretty crazy on the AI stuff that's coming out there that I've seen at conferences, that stuff that just is way over my head, but just obviously in the field that I'm in, I deal with a lot of cities and county, or a lot of cities and a lot of organizations that are doing that. But yeah, it's there's a lot of interface out there that's only getting better and better each day because what was good last week is now advanced, you know, even farther this week. I'll clarify, the hologram does not show up just like on your, like in front of you, but it's on the screen. It's a real person. You think you're talking to a real person.
Any other discussion? Okay, next we'll move to Law Director's report.
So Jamie is stuck in traffic. I obviously can't answer any questions, any legal questions, but any questions that you have about our report, I can answer as long as you're not wanting advice or opinion. We don't have any updates really to provide currently. We did, of course, receive a letter from SEC on a specific case that's in litigation, just advising as to coverage status, and right now they have not declined coverage. That's the only update that we really have.
Okay.
Oh, and you guys did request that we prepare a letter to state legislatures on the cemeteries, asking them for exactly what happened, why that didn't pass. We did prepare a letter. Unfortunately, it didn't go on the agenda, but I do have a letter that I can pass around for you guys to review and approve.
If you could, then he can bring it up in his report Monday. He can bring it up in his report Monday, but yes, please pass it around. Well, no, go ahead and pass that around, yeah.
And if you guys can send out an email copy of that too, to the full commission.
If you can get that out, you know, by email to full commission, so to give them, you know, enough time to look at it before Monday night. Anything else? All right. Great report. You did well. Class and Kids Palace Park, that discussion was requested by me. I sat in on the Legal Services Advisory Board, and there was some discussion there. And then it came from Commissioner Wandell to bring it back to Operations Committee for discussion. And I think what we want to do, or Commissioner Wandell would like to do, is make a request to TVA to leave it open. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I spoke to TVA once or twice since our meeting, and you know, instead of getting lost in all the legalities of it, the simplicity of it is we have a park that's going to be shut down as it stands now December 1st. My understanding is TVA needs to do some core drilling where the park, the Kids Palace playground is at. So they need to put some safety tape around it, and so they can perform those services of the core drilling. I have not been told yet that they plan on demolishing the park. I've asked that they leave it open until we are able to confirm where the new park for Claxton will go. My understanding is there's been some discussions to put a new potential park at the new Claxton school. And according to Dr. Parrott, the park would always be open unless there is a special event such as field day or something like that. So my prior understanding was the park would be closed if it was located there while school is in session. So my understanding is now that the new park would not be closed while school's in session, so people could use it just like it's used now. So, yeah, I'd like to move forward with maybe a motion to respectfully request TVA keep Kids Palace open as long as they can for the community to use. And that'd be my motion.
Okay. Have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Barron. Discussion? Commissioner Foster?
Yeah, and the maintenance of the park, I know, what's that committee called?
Conservation.
Conservation, I went blank, I'm sorry. The Conservation Committee no longer is maintaining that, is that correct? So that would be my only, that would be from who's maintaining the playground if there's repairs. I know we've taken some slides down, and so that would be my concern if we're leaving it open past the date. Is the community gonna do maintenance? Is the liability, is it the county's liability? Does the county even own it? Because I think that was a question too, that who owns it, who's maintaining it, those kind of things. So that would be my only concern. I don't have a problem with keeping it open as long as I just have some concerns from exposure purposes. So I don't know if somebody can answer that.
I think once December 1st, on December 1st, I guess midnight, it is TVA's. And so I think Commissioner Wandell's motion is to request that once they're done with the testing, that the motion is to request that TVA keep it open.
Okay.
Our liability ends on November 30th.
Sounds good.
Is that correct, Commissioner Wendell?
That's my understanding.
Okay, perfect. Just need a clarification, thanks.
Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Next is ACWA minutes, and I don't see any here. We'll pass on to strategic planning update.
Yep, we had our meeting on Friday. I know not everybody could attend, but we met with CTAS, helped lead that, and so had just some good planning, and we had somebody speak from the Retailers Association, and their government relations person came out and just kind of gave us an update of the housing market in Anderson County in the area, and I think they're going to send us that presentation too, so we can get it out to all the commissioners. We also had a presentation from Rick Meredith and I know he's going to send us the presentation, just kind of the jobs, large industries, just kind of the economic area outside of Oak Ridge. But I think they're adding some pieces because of the nuclear. He just didn't have that information, but obviously we've got growth going on there. So they'll be putting a report together for us. CTAS will, and be sending that out, priorities, those kind of things. And obviously anybody else that was there can add. But it was really good conversation and planning for, just kind of updates and things, and looking too what we've accomplished. I think that was a really cool piece of it, what we've accomplished when we first did the strategic plan and made priorities and what we did. And then things that were lower priorities before have now moved up, things that were not even on there now are a priority because things have changed. But we've definitely talked a lot about growth and housing and updating our land use plan. And so we also have planning commissioners there, which I think was really good, which they want to have another meeting with us, like a joint meeting. And so I'm going to get some dates to bring back for full commission. I know that's kind of brought up last month, but they definitely want to do that because there'll be more and more updating of that land use and of our zoning. So anybody else want to add anything? If not, it'll be the last item of business.
I think, and Commissioner McCamey and Commissioner Wandell remember this, but we paid a lot of money for operational audit back, how much was that?
Over $500,000.
Yeah.
Never implemented the first thing.
So I think that's something, there's some information in there that the taxpayers paid for that's never been used. So maybe if the strategic planning committee or whatever, or we can look at it in operations or somewhere, and we need to look through 500,000 pages and look and see if there's anything that's beneficial, because that's something, like Commissioner McCamey said, we paid for it. We've never used it, as far as I know. But it's something we need to look at. And this, I think this was actually before Mayor Frank's time when we did that. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. When was that audit done?
2010, 2011?
I think it was 2005, actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
2005.
it was before we even.
Yeah, that's right,
Yeah,
before
it
you
was-
even come on.
Yeah, it was before
That's
we even
right.
come on.
Yeah. And then we did another one,
That was for EMS.
updated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
That was cheaper. That was-
Yeah. Yeah, that was 2005. Yep. No. Okay. Any unfinished business? Any new business?
Mr. Chairman, I had the opportunity to attend the CORE meeting this past Friday in Oak Ridge at New Hope Center, and that's something I've followed for a little bit, and I would like for us to take this up, not tonight, but at some point, and maybe next meeting, but I'd like for us to pass a resolution at some point in support of CORE. There's not been a COLA increase for the retirees from Oak Ridge since 1998. That number has stayed flat, and there seems to be some kind of impasse between DOE, the contractors, and for some reason can't break that impasse. But I'd like for us, I know we passed one back in 2010, I think it was, a resolution in support of CORE in their activities. I'd like to see us do that again and revisit it, so I plan on bringing it up at the next meeting, if it's all right.
Okay, is that something that we'll put it on the agenda for next month and the law director can look at?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay. All right, any discussion on that? Any other new business? Motion to adjourn.